Myong Leigh. A very humble and compassionate and dedicated man. And so we look forward to hearing from you this morning. Just want to acknowledge you and just appreciate you just for this short time that you've been with us in this role. Thank you, Myong, for everything that you've done so far.
Good morning, everybody. Oh my goodness, this room is like packed. I wish you could see what I see this morning. And I have to start again by acknowledging those brilliant students. So 3 groups of students from downtown, high school, Everett Middle School, and all honors SFUSD Jazz Combo. That's amazing. I couldn't help but feel like we were all at Yoshi's together during the Jazz Combo. And what an amazing theme for that song, but also for today and the work we're doing. I think the theme was, take it from me, someday we'll all be free. What a apt motivation for us today. So today is not that day, unfortunately, when we all feel free, but we have to make it as free as we can and enjoy each other's goodwill and good company. I have to say I'm a little bit leery today because I was out with the 2nd District PTA folks last night. Can anybody who was at Patio Espanol restaurant with the PTA make some noise? Okay, I haven't been out that late in weeks. And this was the annual Founders Day dinner for the PTA, so there were so many parents, some students as well, and many site leaders there. So thank you so much for being committed to the work, showing up for the PTA and each other in your school communities last night, and a double dose of stamina coming back at 8:30 this morning. We know you're always committed, and we're testing you this weekend, so thank you for being here again. So let's go ahead and get started with, and Jill, do I have the clicker or do you have the clicker? You got the clicker, okay, thank you. So let's go ahead and get started. Oh my gosh. I thought you were booing for me. I needed a trigger warning for this. So we know that this has been a chaotic and unprecedented year for us. Who knew that we would be in this situation today? This is my 17th School Site Council Summit, or School Planning Retreat as we now call it. We haven't faced a time like this. So nobody could have predicted this, except maybe Vladimir Putin. But we are where we are, and as I've said to the administrators, the themes that we're emphasizing this year, and to the extent we talk about some of the national context, it really isn't about politics, it isn't about party, Democrats, Republicans. It's really about respect, inclusivity, and decency, and living in the kind of world that we want to live in with each other, supporting each other, lifting each other up. We're going to talk about all of those values that we hold so strongly in San Francisco and SFUSD. Oh, there we go. So, mighty dove coming in to save the day. So we are different in San Francisco, and it's really heartwarming to see that so many of our colleagues and community counterparts in many places around the state, around the country, are also taking a stand for their values to protect their communities and those that are most marginalized. So we do have values that we stand with all of San Francisco as a sanctuary city. We are a sanctuary district. Thank you all for standing up for all of the members of our community. We feel so strongly that everyone has an equal right to be in our schools, to be served by our schools, to be respected, and to get an outstanding education. So this is what we're about, and this is what we're about today. We do have many practical things that we have to talk about. This is sort of the normal theme of our school planning retreats, where we talk about budgets, we talk about staffing, academic priorities. This is all after we stop complaining about the parking, which is also an annual ritual. But today, we also have to keep in mind this broader context that I know we're all feeling. Each of you is feeling in your own way, in your own communities, and so that is part of our work today. Which brings me to our core values. So last year, hundreds of SFUSD staff participated in a collaborative, inclusive process to really identify what does it mean to work in San Francisco Unified? What do we stand for? What are the values that keep us in this very difficult work? So we came up with these 5 values, and you can see they happen to cleverly represent our acronym, SFUSD. So they're student-centered, fearless, united, social justice, and diversity-driven. And these values help us stay strong, stay motivated in challenging times. They also help us make difficult decisions. They also help us guide us when we don't know exactly what the right path is. And that's part of what we're going to talk about today, both in this large gathering and in your school teams. So I'm going to ask you to do something a little bit different. I'm going to ask everyone to just take 30 seconds or so and think about these values and settle on one of them. Settle on one of these 5 values that you're going to hold in your mind and your heart this morning. Just take a second to think about that. Okay, so hopefully everybody had a chance to let that thought wash over you. I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to talk about 2 that are really ringing true for me today. And one of them is the value of social justice. And for me, and I know for all of us, that means that we stand with our most vulnerable students and our most vulnerable community members. As I said, everyone has the right, not a privilege, to be well served. That cuts across lines of race, gender identity, immigration history, language, learning differences, sexual orientation, you name it. So every one of our young people that are in our schools, every family member that comes to expect their students to be served well, all of the staff that work in our schools, we all need to be respected and respect each other. The second thing I want to mention, the second value, is about being united. And this is obviously a time of angst and protest, and that's very important. It's critical for us to lift up our voices and encourage others to do so as well. And I also think that in our context, that being united also means engaging each other with empathy and engaging each other with good faith and staying in good relationship as long as you can and work as hard as you can. We know that sometimes that runs out and that's not going to happen all the time, but I would just like to encourage all of us to maintain that value of unity within our community as well. So one of our themes among all of the district leadership this year is about realizing our vision, our hope through partnerships. And there are many examples of partnerships. Actually, you may or may not see the signs of this, but many examples of partnership that led to today. And many people, district staff, school-based staff, community members, parents, and students are working to pull off events like this, powerful events like this. So our vision is, as President Walton said, for all of our students, for everyone, to graduate from high school, ready for college and career. We have this beautiful graduate profile in our Vision 2025. I'll just list a few of those characteristics, the knowledge, skills, dispositions, and behaviors for every one of our students, 100%. So we want each student to obtain content knowledge, master content knowledge, to develop career and life skills, to have a global, local, and digital identity, to develop leadership, empathy, and collaboration skills, to be creative, to make and invent things, and to have a sense of purpose and a sense of self. So all of those very sophisticated, intricate, and crucial skills and dispositions, that's what we're holding for our students, for every one of our students. So in order to accomplish that, we have to work together. We have to work in partnership. And that means working with parents, working with staff, working with partners, working with the district, working with our elected officials. I should also say that we have several members of our school board here. Commissioner Emily Marase is here. Let's give a warm welcome to Commissioner Marase. We have Vice President of the school board, Hydra Mendoza-McDonald, is here. Thank you, Vice President Mendoza-McDonald. And if we see additional commissioners, we'll take a pause to thank them for coming as well. So I want to mention a few examples of partnerships that have just stood out for me this year, and in some cases this week. So just this week on Thursday, I went to Read Aloud Day at Sunset Elementary School, and I know many of you have gone to this event in the past. I know many of you hold Read Aloud Days this time of the year. So this was a fantastic experience, and I just have to say that there was so much care and love that was displayed in how this event was put together. So by the parents, by the community members, by the staff, and certainly by the principal, Sophie Lee. Where are you, Sophie? Close to the sunset. So really a warm and powerful celebration of a school community coming together. In the fall, I had the opportunity to go to my first APAC meeting of the year. And I hadn't been to the APAC for a while, and if folks haven't been to the APAC, really, you should know what's going on in the APAC this year. I thought there would be a couple dozen people. There were like 50 or 60 people on Thursday night at Loyola Havard, and they were having the most powerful conversation about how to support their children's learning and each other, and to push on the district. So it was really kind of a game changer for me about what's going on in APAC, and I know there are many site-level APACs happening this year and last year as well. So anybody who's involved with the APAC or the site-level APACs, can you give yourselves a hand too? And also, I had a recent experience along those lines where I went to the last CAC meeting for special education. Again, 50, 60 people at Support for Families. They meet once a month, and I kept hearing that so many people are coming to the CAC meetings this year. Fantastic. And I was also equally blown away by the level of discussion and how much time and care people are paying in that discussion. So, special ed CAC members, can you give yourselves a hand? And then finally, thank you, finally, our own students, our student delegates and groups of students across our district high schools, they have taken on this exceptional leadership moment by drafting this resolution standing up for immigrant students. So it's the undocumented, united, and unafraid resolution. Very, very powerful. We are working on the final revisions to that resolution, but again, if you haven't heard about this, then please try to lean in and ask some questions, and I think you'll be amazed about the level of leadership and rigor that the students are really showing in this resolution. So can we thank our Student Advisory Council for this. Thank you so much. And so I'm going to leave you, before we transition to my partner, Deputy Superintendent Guadalupe Guerrero. You notice we're tireless today. so we can kind of shake it up a little bit. We lost the neckties. But before we transition to Deputy Superintendent Guerrero, I wanted to show this, one of our wonderful videos that display our graduate profile. And this is from Misael Perez, who graduated from John O'Connell last year. This video and 5 other videos are on the district's website, sfusd.edu. If you want a little morale boost, or just kind of a human boost, go check out these videos. They're really wonderful. So here's Misael.